In this spa, there's like a Korean bathhouse. And in this Korean bathhouse, everyone is completely naked. So there's a side for men and there's a woman's side. And I walk in and I see a penis and chest hair and a low haircut. And I go to the people that work there. I'm like, oh my goodness, I think somebody came into the wrong side or something. There's a man in there. Now there's also all women working in there. So they all look at me in discomfort and you can tell they're embarrassed and they're just like, it's a trans woman. This person saw me completely, without my consent. And I saw a very big penis.
When you say big, how big are we talking? Show me with your hands.
They feel bad because they're like, legally, New Jersey law, there's nothing we can do. Me even feeling this way is transphobic.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, you guys. So this poor woman, she's in New Jersey. She's at her favorite spa. They have a Korean bathhouse part of the spa that separated men and women, which is part of the problem right there. I keep telling you guys, nobody wants to listen to me. Male and female is the way to go on this, and be very specific and very clear in that wording. And this is why I told you guys that not too long ago. I'm gonna go off on just a little bit of a tangent for a second. Like, comment, and subscribe now before I piss you off. If you want to leave a comment just to help me on the algorithm, just leave the words nakey, nakey, eggs, and bakey. But anyway, this poor lady thought she was in a female only space and got an eye full of dang-a-lang. And I know I might sound like I'm being silly when I say she got an eye full of dang-a-lang, but I am a man, and a gay man at that. And I'll tell you, I do sympathize, empathize, whichever one it is you use in this instance. Either way, I thighs with exactly what she's saying, because even being a gay man, if you're not ready to see dick, it'll throw you off your game a little bit, even if it's nice, even if it's on somebody you wouldn't mind seeing the dick of. But let me tell you, as a person that's had trans friends for the last 30 years, when you see dick on a woman, it's even worse. It'll blow your whole mind. It'll ruin your day. It'll ruin your life. Not forever, but for a minute, it really will catch you off guard. And she says herself that this person, this trans-identifying male, did not look at all like a woman. So at least she got spared that trauma of it. For the people that are really into that, and for the trans people, I'm not trying to offend you, because now I'm very used to it. I've seen most of my friends naked more than I want to, because we had to, because we were changing at the same time. And I'm not gonna make anybody uncomfortable. As a grown-up, every once in a while you have to change or whatever, and we were all SWs together, and so sometimes quick costume change so we could go hit another let's not get too much into that, but whatever it was we had to do. And so I've seen my friends naked a lot now. It's something that you get used to, but the more they look like a woman and then they have the appendage, it really does throw you off. And so I can understand on several levels how this woman could have been traumatized by having to see this out of nowhere, unexpectedly, and without her consent. And especially when you're in your happy place, you're safe and warm, and the ding ding is the last thing on your mind. You're not even thinking that way. You didn't even know it could happen. It's never happened under that circumstance before, and now all of a sudden it's just, my point is, I feel her. And if you really want to know how to stop that, I'm going to talk about it. Some of you are going to get mad at me, but some of you kind of always do anyway, so whatevs, bro. But anyway, not too long ago, a bunch of women got mad at me because I said, and I meant it for legal purposes, to use female exclusively when referring to themselves and their spaces. Because the argument is, in 2024, I know a lot of you have gone a lot of years. I myself have a fair amount of mileage on me too. I remember when women didn't have as well. You're not alone. You are not alone. I am here with you. But seriously, you're not alone. I remember when women didn't have a cack and bows. It wasn't even an option. They didn't even sell those models back when I was growing up. I mean, I'm sure they sold them. They've been selling them forever. That's all they did was sell them though. You couldn't have one at home. Not even as a parent. But no, we come from a different day, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you are like me, Gen X or older. We have younger people, love you, appreciate you. You are the future, and especially because you watch this channel and you get me without getting offended. But what I was trying to say when I said that, because a bunch of women got like, you don't want us to be women. You're trying to trick us out of being called women. I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care what anybody calls themselves. But I was talking about for legal purposes, because the way that society sees it right now, and I'll do a full video on it coming up, but I'll say it in the shortest way possible right now. And if you get mad at me down below in the comments, I promise you I will not respond to any comment that's about this specifically, because I'm trying to tell you the way that it actually is and not what I want it to be and not what you want it to be. Here's the deal. The way that society sees it right now, society at large, because of everything that's happened with gender, is that gender is something you can change. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be non-binary, you can be an X. I don't know what an X is to this day, but you can be one. And there are several different ways to identify. If you go on Facebook, there's like 100 and something ways to identify as far as what you consider your gender. So the way that it works currently is that gender can be anything and anybody can be any gender. Makes no sense, I know, but it's what it is. Don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. But what I'm trying to get at with that is sex is immutable. That's why my license has an M on it, which it could still have an M if it was for a man. So that's not the best example. But ladies, that's why your license has an F on it for female. It doesn't stand for fucking bitch, which is what a lot of your husbands call you when you're not in the room. Just kidding, but some of these are just for me. I can hear my subscriber count going down right now. But the F stands for female, obviously, because sex is immutable. That's why in Florida, the state was able to make the rule that you couldn't change your gender marker on your ID, because they decided it wasn't meant to be a gender marker. It was meant to be a reference for your sex. So the two sexes are male and female. You can't play the 120, 32 flavors, whatever you're trying to do. You can't do it when it comes to sex. And that's why I say more and more businesses need to actually write it in as being, this is the female side, this is the male side, and never deviate from that language, because that allows for no discrimination. You're either male or you're female. If you're saying that this is the women's side and this is the men's side, and I come in with new school gender theory, which, as I'm telling you, is being accepted by the law. So I come in and I say, I identify as a woman, so I belong on the women's side. Well, with the way the laws work right now, even though I look like me, and I do look great today, but even though I look like me, I am now a woman. So if you come out and you say, hey, you can't come in here because you are not a woman, then I can be like, what says I'm not a woman? I'm telling you with my mouth that I am a woman. So step aside, other woman. I would hate to have to give you a woman to woman ass whooping because you're trying to tell me that I'm not woman enough to be in here. I'm not turtley enough for the Turtle Club.
Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle.
And trust me, I am turtley enough for this Turtle Club. Out of my way, bitch. I need to get into this locker room. And then I'm now in the locker room. And then I take off my clothes and I'm a woman just like you. Different women have different bodies. So drink it in, ladies. It's all woman and it's all for you. It's all for you if you really want it. All for you. Okay, let me not get a copyright strike. We know these pipes. I really should have warmed up. Every once in a while I sing for you guys. It's what I do. But on the serious tip, sometimes, ladies, you get mad at me. I'm gonna tell you, I don't deserve it, because I really only have the best intentions for both you and the trans women. I gotta admit it. Females, women. One time somebody commented, you call them trans women and you call us biological females. And I was like, no tea, no shade, girl. I just was saying biological females because I'm even trying to train my own brain that way. All jokes aside, I am trying to train my own brain that way because I feel like with the crazy craziness that's going on with gender right now, for at least temporarily, this is the way a lot of us are going to have to start talking in order to really get our point across, because they're going to keep working the system, and the system is on their side. And I know that sounds disappointing to you guys, and maybe if we're really smart about the way we work it, we can change it back. But man and woman, it's not just woman, it's just women have more of a connection to the word woman than men do to the word man. I mean, like, yeah, we love being men, whatever, but because of the different experiences you have that make you more in touch with what you are than what we are, because being a man, yeah, there's emotions and stuff like that, and I'm not trying to discount manhood or act like that's not a real thing, so guys, don't take me that way. But women, because you guys do go through so much with your bodies, and I don't mean just childbirth, because not every woman's gonna have a baby, but you know, your bodies are way more detailed than ours are, and also the shit you guys have put up with historically, also the shit you guys put up with currently. I get it. I do know why the word woman is important to you. I do get that. So I'm not trying to take that away from you, but I am saying that if our focus is on the rights and not having certain people invade certain spaces that I agree should be single sex spaces. I agree 100%. Because me being a gay man, and this is nothing against anybody, I have no interest in being in a public space with a naked woman. I mean, obviously, I have no interest in being in a private space naked with a woman. So if you turn it public, then it seems even more out of line. So I get it, and I get why this woman had this reaction. But I think this woman also played it exactly the right way, because she wanted to know if she's transphobic for that, and some of you would be like, it's ridiculous, why would she even care if she's transphobic or what people think? But I'm glad she's thinking that way, because it looks better for people to make their case like this than it does the other way, because your knee-jerk reaction is to be like, there was a man naked in the Korean spa and I had to see this man looking disgusting and they're all men, and then yeah, maybe you feel that way, but now when somebody's looking at it from a judicial standpoint, they see you as a transphobe. And now all that trans person has to do, which I don't think this person is trans, I really do feel like they're a creep that's identifying as trans so that they can make women uncomfortable. It's like the flasher. You know, why did flashers used to open up their coat and have nothing underneath in front of strangers? Because that was their thing. That's what turned them on. This is the same thing, except for they're able to do it legally. So I'm not going to bullshit you guys and act like just trans woman was just in there. The truth about transsexual women, which I keep telling you guys, there's a difference between transgender and transsexual, and the difference is a transsexual has a severe form of body dysmorphia. It's called gender dysphoria. So they do not want to show the public what it is they're so ashamed of. And I don't mean that in a bad way if there's any real transsexuals, you know what I'm talking about. I have your back on it. I'm just trying to paint this picture, because this is not the behavior of an actual transsexual. This is a behavior of somebody that has a fetish. And so people were also suggesting that they boycott this particular business, and I don't think that's fair, because it's state law. So this business even has their hands tied. Oh, but what I was trying to say is, so I'm just trying to train my brain to use female and male so that I say things the right way when I have to defend these ideas, or when I have to paint the picture for people that may be prone to trying to say that I'm being discriminatory or I'm not understanding the way they identify. I got everybody on this one, because I really want to see results. As much as people get mad at me, I really want to see results. And I said it on this video, but the two groups that I care about the most, because man, we're always going to be all right to a certain degree, but the two groups I care about the most are women and trans women. It's what it is. I've got a thing for broads. But yeah, so I just try to make sure that my vocabulary is always in check, at least for now. And then, of course, I'll always use female and woman interchangeably, because I know who women are, and so do actual transsexuals. We all know who women are. When people say the adult human female, that's exactly what a woman is. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say these kinds of things, and I'm not trying to change the definition of what a woman is. I'm just thinking in terms of, if we really want what we want, and we really do believe that this is a thing, then I think changing up our wording, at least temporarily, to get what we want is a smarter play. Like, I always think of it like my friend, right? I have this friend, her name is Lara. And I say it ugly like that because it's Lara, which is a perfectly fine name. I'm not saying the name is ugly, but I always have to say it Lara. Because if it even sounds like Laura, she will get mad at you and be like, it's not Laura, it's Lara. And so all of us that know Lara always say Lara. And we have to say it Lara so that she can really hear that we're putting in the effort and we're not half-stepping and turning her into a Laura. So I always think of her on this, right? Because she always acts like that name's such a fucking important thing. Which I don't get mad at me right now because I know what I'm saying, but I don't think any word's important. I understand how words are important to some of you, but me personally, I just don't have that connection with words. Maybe it's because my parents didn't give me a name when I came home, so I was really known as Baby Boy. Baby Boy was literally my name when my parents brought me home. I think that might have something to do with it. Also, because I was an SW, so then you don't even use your actual name. Also, I'm Mexican, so I have a million different nicknames. So to me, words, names, all of that stuff don't mean anything, but I understand how they're important to other people, and I understand how they're important to Lara, and that's why I'm telling this bullshit story. But to me, it's the same, like the being worried about the word woman in this moment, because if you want to go back and reclaim that culturally, I don't blame you. Do that. But what I'm saying is, you're having these violations happening in female sports. You're having them happen in female-only spaces that should be female-only spaces, and you're having them happen in female prisons. Those are like the big three right now, I would say, that are really the most pressing and also the most important that we can all see, because there's certain things, like I say all the time, I don't care what people wear, that kind of shit. I'm not making those my concerns at any point, I can tell you that. Those are the important ones, right? So let's look at that as a bleeding wound. So that's a bleeding wound, right? So let's say that Lara has a bleeding wound and they really need to know if she has any important medical factors as far as allergies or anything like that before they can actually administer whatever treatment it is they need to administer. And I know some of you are going to be down in the comments like, that's not a good example too. Just shut up and let me talk, all right? Trying to do something here. So the paramedics are like, what's your friend's name? And I'm like, that's Lara. And the paramedic is like, okay. And he walks over to her and he's like, look, Laura, I really need to treat this wound, but first I need to find out if you have anything that we need to be aware of as far as, and she's like, my name's Lara. And he's like, all right, Laura, I got it, but I just need to get this quick medical information so I can start treatment and get you fixed up here so that you're not bleeding and you don't bleed out, hopefully, but I need to get started on this right away. I won't let you treat me until you call me Lara. You have to call me Lara. It's like, okay, well, are we dying here or are we not? Because your name being Lara really isn't that big a deal right now. And that's the way I feel about the argument at this moment right here about the word woman. Male spaces, female spaces. That way we can shore that up and then everything else we can worry about later. Like I said, I'll do a full video on gender and sex, and maybe I'll even watch Matt Walsh's What is a Woman and make my case there about how this all got out of hand, which I talked about in another video, but there's more I can add to it just as far as the cultural end and not necessarily even the relationship with trans, even though that will come into it. I'm talking too much, but you guys see what I'm saying. So, some of you are going to assign the worst intentions to me anyway. I've already seen people doing it down in the comments where every once in a while you're like, he hangs out with trans people, so of course he's always going to have their back. Yeah, well, I have a mother too, and I have sisters. And trust me, as much as I love my trans friends, my family's always going to be my family. My mother's always going to be she's in top 2 of my favorite people in the world. Her and my dad are tied, and it really does sometimes, it vacillates. If I had to pick today, I would say my mom. Tomorrow it might be my dad. Who knows? We'll see who I talk to. We'll see what I do. So when you're like, because he's friends with trans people, he's never going to care about women. I'm always going to care about my mother more than I care about any trans woman in the world. That's my mother. So if you're dumb enough to think that I'm compromised because I've been bitten by the zombie trans, still keep watching. I'm not gonna be crazy and be like, then don't watch. Yeah, watch. Hate watch, you know? Comment something snotty down. Like, I don't mind. I do have fun with my channel though. But yeah, so I fully do understand this woman being traumatized, and I fully do understand where she's coming from, but I really do think that she came at it the right way, because now if anybody were to ask about it or even play the video about it, it really could be a thing where it was like, look, this video is just evidence of how traumatized I felt when I ended up seeing a male body nude that I wasn't expecting to see in what I thought was a female only space, and having that male also see my female body in the nude without my consent. This is the way it traumatized me. This is the way I felt. I no longer felt safe going to one of the places that really was a place of relaxation, a place where I thought I could actually unwind with other females and not be at all subjected to the male gaze. And at that point, even though we know you meant that you didn't need a creepy man looking at you naked, you said the male gaze, and that's what it was. He's a male. You dealt with his gaze. And then whether or not anybody wants to believe me, you all can start formulating your plans to really rack up these wins and make it so that you can have secure female spaces. You know, Sal Grover and me, I'm going to tell you guys this before I get out of here. Sal Grover, who I was a fan of for a minute there, I never thought she was famous though. That's something that she said on X the other day, because this guy was joking and said something about her thinking that she was famous, or somebody saying that she was well, it was one of her followers said that she was famous. But anyway, neither here nor there. But I never mistook her for famous. I know actual famous people. I'm friends with actual famous people. So I would never mistake Sal Grover for being famous. She's on the news because she's got that case, and we'll talk about her later. But I know that she's watched my stuff before, and even though I got all that heat for saying that about male and female spaces, I noticed on a tweet the other day she was strictly using the words male and female. But she's screwing herself in another way right now, and I'm going to talk about that on another episode. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. As always, this has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.